All right, so, we're diving deep today, and we're going to be talking about this book that one of you sent our way.
Oh, yeah.
Frank Tembo's Know Yourself and Become Wealthy.
I've heard good things.
It's,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's fascinating.
it is. It
Very
is.
much so.
Even if the author himself calls it strange.
Right.
It's definitely an interesting book.
Yeah, a unique read.
And that's really what we're going to try to do in this deep dive is to extract the most important and intriguing insights from this very unusual book.
Mm-hmm.
So you can kind of get a shortcut to what the core message is all about.
Yeah.
This whole idea of self-discovery and how that leads to creating the life that you desire.
Absolutely. And Tembo, I gotta say, he has such a direct and unique style of writing that it really pulls you in.
It does.
He even suggests that each sentence, each paragraph actually holds multiple meanings.
Wow.
So it's almost like he's daring you to reread it to uncover like an evolving message and even connect with what he calls the book's living energy and unique frequency.
Oh, wow.
So it's not just reading words on a page,
Right.
It's really about actively engaging with these ideas, and it's meant to spark your own understanding.
So at its heart, this book is all about understanding who you truly are.
Exactly.
And not just like, I'm John, I work at the bank.
Mm-hmm.
I like to play, baseball on the weekends.
Right.
But like your fundamental essence,
Yeah.
who you are at your core.
Your soul.
And Katembo really argues that this self-knowledge, it's not just like an abstract philosophy.
Right.
It's like the absolute bedrock
Yeah.
for personal growth and for creating wealth.
Totally.
And he's not just talking about wealth like money.
Oh, no.
He's talking about a life that's rich with spiritual and emotional depth.
Well, yeah.
The whole thing.
Yeah, the whole package.
And he starts out with this really striking image. I think it's a really great way to kind of frame this whole concept.
Yeah.
He compares a lot of people to a caveman holding a smartphone.
That's such a good analogy.
It is, because you have this, caveman who has this incredible piece of technology, but doesn't know how to use it.
They just don't even know what it is.
Right.
They're just like, what is this shiny thing?
Exactly. And that's kind of how a lot of us are.
Right.
We have this incredible potential within us.
Yeah.
But we're unaware of how to truly use it.
We don't know how to turn ourselves on.
Yeah, how to activate our own existence.
Exactly.
So the book is kind of this guide for you.
That's how I see it.
To help you recognize that power within you.
Yeah.
And to understand that you're not just a creation, you're a creator yourself.
It's a shift in perspective.
It is.
A big one.
Yeah, with unlimited potential, just waiting to be unleashed.
Waiting for you.
So let's dive into this whole knowing yourself thing.
Yeah, let's get to the meat of it.
Because that's really central
It's everything.
to Katembo's argument.
Right.
And he makes this really clear distinction between knowing, understanding, and being wise.
Yeah, it's subtle, but crucial.
It is.
Like, what's fascinating to me is how he layers these concepts. So knowing, for him, it's simply about acquiring information.
Okay.
Like facts and data.
Gotcha.
It's accumulating knowledge. But he stresses that this is just the starting point.
Okay.
Like, for you, it's just raw material.
Okay, so that's like step one.
Yeah.
Just gathering the raw materials.
Exactly. And then what happens? Well, then comes understanding.
Okay.
And this is about recognizing patterns in that information.
Okay.
Seeing how things connect and relate to each other.
Okay.
But even understanding, he's like, that's not the end goal.
Oh, really?
No wisdom. Wisdom is that crucial final step.
Okay.
It's the ability to apply both your knowledge and your understanding to make good decisions.
Okay.
And take the right actions in your life.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. So it's not just about knowing and recognizing. It's about actually discerning the right course of action.
Gotcha.
In the midst of all of life's complexities.
So it's a progression.
Yeah, it's a journey.
From just having the facts to knowing what they mean and then to actually using them.
Exactly. It's about taking action.
Effectively.
Yeah. Make those facts work for you.
And he makes this really strong statement about the necessity of self-knowledge in this whole process.
He does.
I mean, he flat out says that unless you read yourself,
that's right,
you can't truly learn or understand how anything else works.
It's like you're missing the instruction manual to your own life.
He uses this really interesting analogy.
I love his analogies.
Of Solomon being instructed to live like Moses.
Yeah, that one stuck with me.
He's like, that's a recipe for disaster.
Total disaster.
Because it's living out a script that's not your own.
You're trying to be someone you're not.
Exactly. And he connects this to what he sees as humanity's current identity crisis.
Right. Like, we're all kind of lost
Yeah.
and searching for who we are.
Yeah, this fundamental struggle to understand who you are and what your purpose is.
Big questions.
Huge questions. And he goes on to say that true knowledge,
Yeah.
the kind that leads to wisdom, is not just intellectual.
Right. He's not talking about book smarts.
No.
He actually elevates experience above intellectual insights.
Interesting.
Yeah, he says true knowledge lies in experience.
So getting out there and living
That's where it's at.
is a crucial part of this.
Yeah, get your hands dirty, make mistakes.
Exactly. And he talks about this progression, doesn't he?
Yeah.
From the five senses.
Oh, yeah.
Which he says can be easily tricked
Oh, totally.
to the heart, which he believes is trick-proof.
The heart knows.
So starting with sensory input, but then moving to the deeper wisdom of the heart.
It's about feeling and embodying knowledge.
Yeah, not just processing it in your head.
Head knowledge versus heart knowledge.
So if you can do that, if you know yourself, if you read yourself,
Yeah.
what does that unlock?
According to Tembo, it unlocks your ability to understand the world
Okay.
and navigate its complexities more effectively.
So like you can make better decisions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can see the bigger picture.
But then he takes it a step further.
He does.
He says it unlocks your power to manifest your deepest desires.
Oh, yeah. That's the juicy stuff.
It is, and that's where things get really interesting.
Yeah, because knowing who you are at your core connects you to your potential.
To create.
To create.
And this leads into this whole idea of the divine within. So Tembo argues that each of us bears this divine essence.
Like a spark of the creator.
And is one with the Father, the ultimate creator.
Yeah, we're all connected.
This is a really central tenet to his whole philosophy.
Yeah, that's the foundation.
And really understanding this is key.
It is.
To grasping his overall message.
If you miss this, you miss everything.
Right.
Because he believes that until this inherent oneness is recognized and embraced, your true potential remains largely untapped.
Like you're operating...
You're just scratching the surface.
At a fraction.
Yeah, just a sliver of what you could be.
Of your capacity. And he touches on religion and science here.
Yeah, he doesn't shy away from those big topics.
No, he doesn't. And he notes that while they offer some guidance, they don't fully capture
the whole picture,
totality of your being.
It's more than just religion or science.
Yeah, and he actually offers a critique.
Oh, yeah, he's not afraid to.
He suggests that sometimes religious teachings, while aiming to guide you, can actually fall short.
Yeah.
He specifically mentions this idea that some promote manifestation without emphasizing inspired action.
So it's just wishing and hoping.
Yeah, and he calls that passive empty hope.
It's not enough.
It's not enough. You have to take action.
Right. Thought and action together.
And he doesn't shy away from some pretty direct claims about the divine.
Oh, no, he's very bold.
Yeah, he states very clearly that there is no God than he who dwells inside of you.
You are the temple.
And he argues that seeking the Father within is the path to finding the Son and ultimately finding yourself.
Self-discovery through the divine.
And he even includes this powerful quote.
Okay, let's hear it.
He says, "We have come from the light. We are its sons and daughters, and we are the chosen of our living Father. If they ask you, what is the evidence of your Father in you? Say to them, it is motion and rest."
Wow, that's beautiful.
It is, and it really encapsulates this belief in your inherent divine nature.
Yeah.
There's motion and rest within you. He presents those as evidence.
Well, like the pulse of life.
Yeah, of your connection to the Creator.
Yeah, to the source.
And he takes it a step further.
Okay, even further.
He explains that God created everything from himself and everything in the universe.
Yeah.
All the cycles, all the rhythms.
Right.
They imitate his nature.
It's all connected.
Yeah. And then he poses this really interesting question.
Oh, yeah. What is it?
He says, are you the dust?
Okay.
Are you the descended God? Are you both? Are you neither?
Or something else entirely.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
It is.
It makes you think.
It's really designed to make you consider your fundamental identity.
Who are we really?
Yeah.
What are we made of?
And your relationship to the divine.
It challenges any simple answers.
It does.
There's more to it.
Okay, so let's move on to the power of thought and word.
Oh, this is a big one?
It's a big piece of the puzzle for Tembo.
Huge.
He draws this direct line between your inner world and your external reality.
As within, so without.
Exactly.
It's all connected.
And he explains this connection between your thoughts, your emotions, your words, and ultimately creation itself.
Your words have power.
He makes this really strong statement.
Oh, yeah.
That sound is the embryo foundation of any physical life form.
Wow, that's deep.
So your very utterances
Yeah.
have a foundational power.
Like you're speaking things into being.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And he argues that your outer world is a direct reflection,
Mm-hmm.
a manifestation of what's going on inside your mind.
Your internal dialogue.
So to change your external reality,
Yeah.
you first need to align your inner world
It starts with
the reality that you desire.
change your thoughts, change your life.
And he really emphasized
Yeah.
that for a creator, which he believes we all are,
Right.
there are no empty words.
Every word matters.
Every word spoken carries creative influence.
Choose your words carefully.
And he uses this analogy of planting corn seeds in thought and speech,
Okay.
and then expecting to harvest corn in reality.
Yeah, you reap what you sow.
Exactly what you put out there is what you're going to get back.
Energy flows where attention goes.
And it's not just about like positive thinking.
Right.
He says that whatever you believe,
Yeah.
however you hold that belief, will manifest.
Belief is key.
So it's not just about like wishing for good things.
No.
It's about the deep-seated beliefs that you have
Conscious and unconscious.
that are shaping your reality.
Beliefs are powerful.
So let's talk about duality and balance.
Okay.
Because Tembo addresses this inherent pull between seemingly opposing forces.
A light in the dark.
He talks about this tension between good and evil,
Yeah.
paradise and hell,
Right.
but he reframes it
Too.
as not being a true dichotomy,
Okay.
but rather this dynamic and necessary part of existence that's actually crucial for your growth and evolution.
So you weigh both.
You need both. And he says they're not separate places. They're feeling state conditions.
Internal states.
Exactly. Two halves of a single whole
That makes sense.
that are always complete when they're present together.
With yin and yang.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating here is his emphasis on perception and perspective.
Yeah, how you see things.
He uses the analogy of malleable clay shaped by the potter
Oh, I like that.
to illustrate how your individual interpretation shapes your experience.
So it's subjective.
It is so what one person perceives as heavenly, another might see as nightmarish.
Totally depends on your point of view.
So your internal state really dictates how you experience these dualities, and he stresses the importance of balance and harmony.
Finding that equilibrium.
Yeah, he even challenges your understanding of zero.
Zero.
He says it's not nothingness.
Oh.
It's the balance point,
Okay.
the origin portal of all creation.
Wow.
He said the wise understand the significance of zero
While others just see it as empty.
as nothing.
Interesting.
And this idea of a cycle kind of brings us to this journey of self-discovery and wealth.
Mm-hmm.
Tembo uses the analogy of partaking of the tree of knowledge
From the Bible.
from the Bible.
Yeah.
And he sees this act not as this singular fall from grace,
Okay.
but as this perpetual exploration.
A lifelong journey.
A journey that inevitably takes you further from innocence,
You lose that naivety.
but ultimately leads to wisdom and wealth.
in that broader sense.
Right, not just money,
Yeah.
but that richness of experience.
Gross.
Yeah, and he quotes from the Bible, now man has become like one of us.
After Adam and Eve eat the fruit.
Right, suggesting that this gaining of knowledge is a form of advancement.
So it's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing, it's just part of the journey.
Yeah, it's necessary.
And he talks about upgrades in human development
Upgrade.
connected to this journey.
Okay.
So he identifies two key upgrades.
What are they?
The first is associated with acquiring this godlike knowledge.
Okay.
And it moves you from innocence to a more capable,
Adult state.
more mature state.
Yeah.
And then the second upgrade
Okay.
is linked to eternal life or eternal consciousness.
That's a big one.
And that moves you to a state of mature wisdom.
Transcendence.
Yeah, and spiritual existence.
It's like levels of being.
Yeah, and he also has this really interesting perspective on how we value achievement.
Oh, yeah.
He contrasts someone who's born into wealth with someone who overcomes adversity to achieve success.
The self-made versus the inherited.
And he argues that the person who has struggled and overcome hardship often experiences a much deeper sense of accomplishment.
Because they earned it.
Yeah, and has a richer, more meaningful narrative of their success.
They've got the story to tell.
They do.
It's more valuable.
Because without the contrast of struggle,
Yeah.
wealth alone can feel kind of flat and empty.
It's handed to you.
And he brings in the concept of giving here
Giving.
and explains how it connects you to the divine.
It's an act of service.
He sees giving as this powerful act that not only benefits others,
Right.
but also awakens your inner potential.
It expands you.
Yeah, and fosters spiritual growth alongside any material blessings.
So it's not just about the money.
No, it's about the impact.
Yeah, making a difference.
And this kind of naturally leads to the theme of creative potential and manifestation.
Ah, yes, the power to create.
And Tembo is so emphatic
Yeah, he's adamant.
about your inherent power to shape your reality.
You are the architect of your life.
He calls it an incredible blessing, this inherent creative power.
It's a gift.
But he also emphasizes
Yeah.
the burden of responsibility that comes with it.
There are two sides to every coin.
This understanding that you can create both joy and suffering.
Power can be used for good or for ill.
He suggests that your creative potential isn't random,
Oh.
but it aligns with the creator's intentions.
It's part of a bigger plan.
It's a purposeful contribution to the universe.
You have a role to play.
You do.
That's amazing.
And he describes this state of flow as evidence of this alignment.
Flow.
Like when you're just in the zone
Yeah, everything's clicking.
and things are just happening effortlessly.
Like you're riding a wave.
He says that's a sign that you're operating in harmony with your higher purpose.
With the divine.
So for those of you out there who are trying to manifest something in your life,
Yeah.
what's his take on how that actually works?
I'm all ears.
He believes that everything you desire is already out there,
Like it already exists.
waiting to be received.
It's just a matter of tuning in.
By you, the key is to tune into it with focus
Okay.
and a positive mindset.
You have to believe it.
He identifies thought
Okay.
as this essential engine
The driving force.
and raw material
Interesting.
for creation in the universal subconscious mind.
The God within.
The God within is the ultimate creator.
So we're all connected to this creative power.
But he has this warning about using this power responsibly.
Yeah.
He cautions against using it for selfish intentions.
Because it can backfire.
He says it can backfire
Yeah.
and be destructive.
You got to be careful what you wish for.
And he talks about the importance of releasing your intentions
Okay.
and trusting the divine
To take care of the details.
to handle the how
Okay.
of manifestation.
So let go of the control.
Yeah, and he uses this analogy of planting a seed.
I like that analogy.
You know, you prepare the ground,
Yeah.
you plant the seed,
Right.
you don't micromanage its growth.
You trust the process.
You trust the natural process.
Yeah. Nature knows what it's doing.
And he suggests that those who are overly preoccupied with the how often delay their manifestations.
They get in their own way.
Yeah, he references the story of the people leaving Egypt
Oh, yeah.
who were held back
By their doubts.
by their focus on the difficulties.
They couldn't see the bigger picture.
Yeah, and he actually has some really practical advice for accelerating manifestation.
Oh, really?
He encourages you to engage your senses,
Oh.
like to vividly imagine
Okay.
the sense, the sounds, the feeling,
Associated with your desires.
as if they were already real.
So really feel it.
Feel it, embody it.
Yeah, make it real in your mind.
Okay, so let's pivot to purpose and goals.
Yeah.
What does Tembo have to say about finding your direction in life?
Yeah, that's a big one.
He emphasizes the importance of knowing your life purpose.
Your reason for being.
He says it's like a guiding light.
It illuminates your path.
And he notes that it can manifest in various ways.
Oh, how so?
Sometimes it's like fleeting moments of fulfillment.
Okay.
Sometimes it's a persistent feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's this like relentless pursuit.
You just know it when you feel it.
Yeah.
It's undeniable.
And what happens if you don't have that clear sense of purpose?
Well, he says that without a clear destination,
Yeah.
your efforts become scattered.
You're just kind of wandering aimlessly.
Yeah, and you risk getting lost and never really setting off on your intended path.
So you need that sense of direction.
Yeah, you gotta know where you're going.
Goals are your destination.
They give you something to aim for.
And this is a really fascinating area.
Oh, tell me more.
Reprogramming the mind.
Okay.
Because Tembo suggests that many of us start out
Yeah.
with some faulty programming.
Like a computer virus.
Yeah. He argues that many people aren't nurtured
Right.
with the right mental nourishment from the very beginning,
From childhood.
from childhood.
Yeah.
And this leads to what he calls a poverty program.
Poverty program. What's that?
It's like this set of beliefs
Okay.
that limit your potential.
It's a scarcity mindset.
Yeah, so he highlights the need to drop alien truths.
Alien truths
These external beliefs that don't serve you,
that are holding you back,
and adopt an abundance mindset,
especially from a young age.
especially from a young age.
Okay.
And he also talks about this innate compass within each of us.
Oh, like an internal guidance system?
Exactly. And he describes this as your inner guidance.
That little voice inside?
Yeah, that can be accessed through self-awareness and mindfulness.
Tuning into your intuition.
He shares this anecdote about defying his GPS
Really?
to illustrate the value of trusting your inner guidance.
Even when it goes against the directions.
Yeah, even when it seems to contradict external instructions.
Interesting.
Especially when your ultimate destination is clear.
You know where you're going.
And he mentions these programmable years.
Programmable years.
Around ages 3, 6, and 9.
Oh, formative years.
And how early experiences shape your beliefs.
They really make an impact.
He believes that the programming you receive during those years
can
become deeply ingrained.
Like hardwired into your brain?
Almost genetic, influencing your thoughts and behaviors for the rest of your life.
Wow, that's powerful.
And this leads to the power of belief and what he calls the law of creation.
Which is often referred to as the law of attraction.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he explains that believing in your potential attracts positive circumstances and opportunities.
So you're a magnet.
He emphasizes that your beliefs can become self-fulfilling prophecies.
So if you believe it, you'll see it.
And he uses some really interesting analogies here.
Oh, I love his analogy.
Like milk turning into more valuable products.
Okay.
Like yogurt and cheese.
As it transforms.
As transforms.
Okay.
And grape juice becoming wine.
It gets better with time.
And these analogies illustrate his point.
Okay.
That failures and mistakes aren't necessarily negative endpoints.
They can be stepping stones.
But they can be part of this transformative process.
That leads to something better.
That leads to positive outcomes and increased value.
So failure is not the end.
He even mentions Columbus and Fleming
penicillin
as examples of breakthroughs
that came from mistakes,
that arose from errors.
Accidents can lead to amazing things.
And he connects belief to your overall well-being.
Okay.
This mind-body connection. He explains how positive beliefs can enhance your physical and emotional well-being.
It affects your whole system.
Reduce stress and promote overall health.
It's all connected.
He makes this really strong statement.
Okay.
That the law of attraction is actually the law of creation.
Law of creation.
Highlighting your inherent creative power.
You're not just attracting, you're creating.
And he identifies a key sin in this context.
Sin?
He believes that perceiving yourself as inferior to the divine,
thinking you're less than,
is the fundamental barrier.
You're reaching your full potential.
He calls this the only true sin of humanity.
Wow.
This reluctance to embrace your rightful position of dominion as creators.
Yeah.
And he suggests that enlightenment allows you to master creation.
To become a true creator.
So Tembo is a huge believer in learning through experience.
He is all about getting your hands dirty.
He emphasizes that true knowing comes from firsthand experience.
Not just reading about it.
Even if that involves experiencing negative consequences.
You learn from your mistakes.
He uses this analogy of the child touching fire versus the one who only receives a warning.
Oh, yeah.
The one who experiences it learns the lesson more deeply.
That's a bigger impact.
You know, he says that reading about swimming is no substitute for getting in the pool.
You got to jump in.
You got to jump in.
To experience it firsthand.
And he also discusses this law of reciprocity.
All of reciprocity.
The idea of giving and receiving.
What goes around comes around.
He explains that the universe responds to kindness and generosity with positive returns.
So it pays to be kind.
He shares this beautiful story about his grandmother.
Oh.
Who used to distribute meat to the community.
That's generous.
And how it consistently flowed back to them.
It always came back.
Illustrating this principle in action.
Yeah, what you give, you get back.
And then there's this law of action.
Okay.
But he takes it beyond just physical effort.
Oh.
He explains that while physical action is creation in the physical realm, the deeper truth is that thought is the first cause.
Your thoughts create your reality.
Ruling in the ether and spirit.
It all starts in the mind.
And he highlights this disparity in rewards between physical labor and work at the thinking level.
So using your mind is more valuable.
He suggests that your mental efforts have this really profound impact.
Wow.
And he emphasizes that your thoughts originate from consciousness.
From your father.
From the divine within.
So we're all connected to this source.
Making you both the initiator and the culmination of creation.
Ah, that's powerful.
He encourages you to approach life with flow. Welcome back to the Deep Dive. In our last exploration, we started down a really interesting path with this book, looking at how understanding ourselves is absolutely key to creating the life we truly want. I touched on some fundamental ideas.
We did, yeah. We began by sort of unpacking the difference between just knowing something intellectually, really understanding it deeply, and then, well, having the wisdom to actually apply that knowledge.
Exactly. And we highlighted the author's strong point that truly understanding the world around us and even bringing our desires into reality starts with that crucial step of self-knowledge, almost like we need to decode our own inner workings first.
Precisely. We also ventured into this powerful idea of an inner divine spark within each of us, a connection to something greater.
Right.
But we emphasize that this isn't just a passive characteristic. It requires us to take inspired action to really manifest what we're looking for.
And we were just beginning to look at some initial concepts around finding our purpose, setting goals that truly resonate, and the critical role of our mindset, what the author calls our poverty program, those ingrained limiting beliefs that can hold us back.
So for this part of our deep dive, our aim is to pick up exactly where we left off in the book and continue all the way through to those final, really thought-provoking chapters.
That's right. We're digging deeper to extract even more of those key insights, those surprising nuggets of wisdom, and really unpack how all of this can be practically applied to your own journey of self-discovery and, well, creating a life of abundance, however that looks for you personally.
And as we now move into the final section of the book titled Testing the Truths of This Book, there's a real shift towards practical application. It moves beyond just theory into how you can actually try these ideas out, in your own life.
Absolutely. The big theme here feels like taking charge, becoming the active author of your own story, and really breaking free from those old restrictive beliefs that might be operating beneath the surface.
Chapter 9 jumps right into this with reprogramming yourself. And right away, the book emphasizes the need for courage. It argues that it takes real courage to question those deeply held beliefs, those truths we've accepted since we were children.
Yeah, the author doesn't hold back on this. He even states quite directly that most of the truth of yesterday has expired. That really makes you pause, doesn't it?
It really does.
And consider how much of what we think is solid fact might actually be, well, outdated. Like, think about one belief you've held for a long time. Could that be one of yesterday's expired truths?
It does make you wonder. And the book introduces this fascinating idea that true wisdom often isn't the obvious, commonly accepted knowledge. Instead, it's described almost as a secret code, something that just clicks when you're ready to resonate with it, to see beyond the surface level.
That's a really interesting way to frame it. Like, there are these deeper understandings just waiting for us to kind of tune into their frequency.
Right.
The author even delves into the idea of symbolism and how it can be used potentially to exert control.
What's fascinating here is the specific example given, the number 13. The book suggests it's a symbol of divine authority that maybe those in power might have, in a sense, kept to themselves, obscuring its true significance.
Right, keeping it from general understanding. It's definitely a provocative thought. Makes you reconsider the origins of some common superstitions.
It certainly does, and that leads into this whole area of forbidden knowledge. The book cautions against simply dismissing things outright, urging a more thoughtful, discerning approach.
Yeah, not just throwing it out.
Exactly. It uses that striking analogy of Lucifer needing to be deciphered to unlock life's mystery. It's about looking past the surface level labels and trying to grasp the deeper message, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. The book even draws a contrast between how humans care for chickens versus their predators.
Oh, right.
To highlight how we sometimes focus on protecting ourselves from maybe lesser threats while remaining unaware of more significant unseen influences. All of this really sets the stage for understanding how our minds become programmed in the first place.
And this is where the concept of the subconscious mind becomes really central. The author describes it as a memory chip that records all our dominant impressions and convictions.
Like an operating system.
Exactly. Basically becoming the operating system that runs our lives. What's crucial here is the connection made to those early negative imprints, those feelings of inadequacy or unworthiness that might have been instilled early on, can become deeply embedded programs, later showing up as struggles with our health or our ability to prosper.
Wow.
The book even touches on the scientific view that, a large part of human behavior operates on subconscious autopilot.
It's a sobering thought, isn't it? That so much of our daily experience might be driven by these underlying programs we're not even consciously aware of.
It really is.
The book brings up a really interesting point about the power of names, even in a spiritual context.
Yes, the book specifically mentions the difference between using Jesus versus the original Hebrew name Yeshua. It suggests that even the unintentional use of a wrong name, one Carrying different historical and energetic baggage might inadvertently lead us down unexpected
Like a
paths.
brand name. It carries history and associations.
Exactly. Similarly, different names for spiritual figures might carry different energetic imprints. It
Yeah.
really highlights the power of like vibration and
It
intention.
really underscores that words aren't just neutral labels, they carry energy and meaning. And speaking of reprogramming, the book introduces the scientific concept of the reticular activating system, or RAS. For anyone unfamiliar, can you give us a quick overview?
Certainly. The RAS is essentially a network in your brainstem that acts as a filter for the massive amounts of information you're exposed to every day.
Okay.
It highlights what it deems important based on your beliefs, your interests, what you focus on.
Right.
The book presents it as a self-reprogramming cycle system.
Hmm.
So the big insight here is that your brain is actively filtering your reality based on what you already believe.
So if you want to change your reality.
You have to change what your brain thinks is important. You have to change the filter settings, essentially.
Okay, so if we understand how the RAS works, how can we use that knowledge to our advantage?
Well, the key, according to the book, is to consciously master this cycle. By intentionally focusing on new beliefs and desired outcomes, you essentially program your RAS to filter your experience in a way that supports those new programs,
Wow.
ultimately freeing you from the old, limiting subconscious programming.
So it's about consciously taking control of what your brain prioritizes, shifting its focus. And the authority to do that, the book emphasizes, lies with each individual.
Absolutely. The book states that the power to override our existing programming rests squarely within us. It requires conscious effort, actively testing new beliefs, learning new skills, and consistently shifting our thought patterns. It's about taking ownership of our mental landscape.
Now, the book also delves into the origin of our thoughts, which is a pretty fundamental question, isn't it?
It is. The book makes a really clear distinction here between thoughts that originate from within, from our own spirit, our inner truth, and those that come from outside, which are labeled as false or unreal. The argument is that embracing these external thoughts is what leads to us being controlled by outside influences.
It's like we have an internal compass, and when we tune into external signals instead, we can lose our way. The book then uses a rather vivid analogy involving our five senses.
Yes, the five senses are described as a cross for our spirit, highlighting how they constantly expose us to external influences and, frankly, how easily they can be tricked.
Right, they're not always reliable.
Exactly. This is contrasted with the spirit, which the book says is untrickable. It underscores the danger of constantly feeding on these external thoughts and perceptions.
So the takeaway there is to be really mindful of what we're allowing to influence our inner world. And that leads to the idea of choosing your seeds.
Precisely. The book emphasizes our power to choose which thoughts we accept and nurture, aligning ourselves with our own inner spirit.
Okay.
It then outlines a clear progression. A thought leads to a word, and a word leads to an action. It all begins with that initial thought we decide to embrace.
And the book points out a crucial, often overlooked element in this process: focus.
Focus is called the incubation period for our chosen thoughts. The book stresses that it's absolutely vital, but often underestimated. It encourages us to intentionally focus on reality, which the book equates with love and on positive outcomes, rather than getting bogged down in negativity and scarcity.
Like tending a garden.
Right.
The seeds need consistent attention.
Exactly like that. Consistent attention to take root and grow.
And how do we know if our focused thoughts are starting to take hold? The book talks about emotion as the first sign.
Emotion is described as the initial evidence that a focused thought is beginning to manifest, to be created.
Oh, okay.
The book explains that this shift in our thoughts and emotions then leads to tangible changes in our physiology and even in our surrounding environment. It's all interconnected.
That's a powerful connection to make our inner state reflecting and influencing our outer reality.
It is. And the book brings it all back to our personal agency, stating that we are ultimately in charge.
He reiterates that we have dominion over our thoughts. He even goes so far as to say we can uncreate facts and truths that no longer serve us.
Which is a wild idea.
It is, that we no longer wish to accept as our reality.
Yeah.
Imagine someone who believes they are inherently unlucky. Uncreating that fact means consciously challenging and replacing that belief with evidence to the contrary.
So you're actively rewriting your own truth.
Exactly. This is a very empowering concept, suggesting a much more fluid and malleable reality than we often perceive.
So, bringing it all together, what is the blueprint for getting wealthy, according to this chapter?
Well, the book summarizes it as understanding and actively harnessing the power of our minds and the fundamental laws of creation. It's about consciously aligning our thoughts, beliefs, and emotions with the principles of abundance,
Okay.
and then activating our RAS to bring that desired reality into being. It's a holistic approach, really, starting from the inner world and radiating outward.
Perfect. Moving into chapter 10, how you can test the ideas of this book. We get even more concrete, more practical steps we can take. The very first one is deceptively simple. Decide what you want.
But the book emphasizes the importance of real clarity here. It's not just a vague wish. It's about clearly defining what you want to have, who you want to be, what you want to do, where you want to go.
Getting specific.
Very specific. The book encourages us to actively engage with these desires, to imagine them vividly, feel the emotions associated with them, and even to write them down. It's about making those desires tangible.
Bring them out of the abstract.
Exactly. Bringing them out of the realm of abstract thoughts and into something more concrete. The next step highlighted is something to do right before sleep.
Yes. The book stresses the practice of ending your day with gratitude. Not just a quick mental checklist, but really feeling thankful for your life. And, crucially, feeling as though you have already received your desires.
Feeling it as already done.
Precisely. It points out that it's not about the time you go to bed or the number of hours you sleep, but the emotional state you're in as you drift off.
Ah, interesting.
So it's about imprinting that feeling of gratitude and already having what you desire onto your subconscious mind as you sleep.
Okay, that makes sense. Then the book introduces the idea of living in the now space.
This is about mentally jumping to the end result, acting and feeling as if your goals are already achieved,
Right now.
and living with that emotional state in the present moment. It's about embodying the success before it physically manifests.
Almost like borrowing the feeling from your future self.
That's a great way to put it, borrowing that feeling and bringing it into your present. The book also has an interesting perspective on negative events.
Oh, yeah.
The advice is to maintain your focus and trust that even events that appear negative on the surface might actually be working towards fulfilling your requests in the long run.
Holding the faith.
Exactly. It's about holding on to that underlying faith and not getting derailed by temporary setbacks.
Yeah.
That requires a real shift in perspective, doesn't it?
It really does. To see potential blessings even in challenges.
Yeah. The book then makes an important distinction between the manifestation process and the practical steps of planning and execution.
Right. It's not just wishful thinking.
No. The analogy used is planting macadamia nuts. The initial desire and mental work are like planting the seed.
Okay.
But then there's the ongoing practical effort, the years of care, watering, weeding that are also essential for the eventual harvest.
So thought and action.
It's about combining that with inspired, consistent action. And for those of us who are past those highly programmable childhood years, the book emphasizes the importance of repetition.
Right, because it's harder to reprogram as adults.
It can be. So it's called repeated tapping, consistently reinforcing your desired thoughts and feelings to reprogram the subconscious mind.
Like carving new grooves.
Exactly. The book suggests joyful repetition and even mentions specific gratitude rituals using numbers like 3x13, 7x7, and 9x.
Interesting. Does it explain why those numbers?
It touches on the idea that certain number combinations have specific energetic frequencies, a concept explored in various esoteric traditions. It's about creating new neural pathways through consistent positive reinforcement.
Got it. The book also touches on the morning action routine, highlighting its significance for many successful people.
Yes, the suggestion is that focusing intently on a morning routine can set the tone for a more graceful and joyful day.
Starting with intention.
Right, starting the day with intention and positive energy, rather than immediately getting caught up in external pressures. Then the book delves into the technique of acting as if.
Okay, we touched on this a bit with living in the now.
We did. This is about actively transitioning into the feeling and acting state as if your goals have already materialized. The book suggests using words, creating vision boards with pictures, using affirmations.
All the tools.
To constantly reinforce these feelings. It stresses the importance of repeating this entire manifestation process daily. It's about embodying the future reality in the present through our actions and emotions.
Okay. The book then guides us through the process of setting our life intentions across various areas.
Right, getting really clear on the big picture.
Yeah. The recommendation is to take time for introspection, reflecting on what we truly desire in areas like spirituality, family, relationships, health, wealth.
The whole package.
The whole package.
Mm-hmm.
The book emphasizes writing these intentions down in specific and affirmative language, focusing on the desired feeling states.
Not just the thing, but how you want to feel.
Exactly. It even suggests keeping these intentions visible and taking inspired action towards them daily. A unique tip is to place your own photo at the center of your intentions, surrounded by these 5 areas and starting each intention with I am.
Oh, that's powerful. Very personal.
It is a powerful way to personalize and embody those intentions. And to further bring these visions to life, the book talks about creating vision pages.
Like vision boards, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. The book explains creating vision pages, physical or digital, with images, words, symbols that resonate with our aspirations. It emphasizes the importance of emotional connection to these visuals and trusting our intuitive guidance in selecting them.
So it's not just random pictures.
No, it's about what really speaks to you. It also recommends incorporating affirmations into our vision work. And finally, the book presents the 90 Days Challenge test as a practical way to really put these principles to the test.
Okay, a concrete challenge. This sounds quite comprehensive.
It is. It involves several key steps. First, acknowledging our inherent divinity, stating, I am HE.
Starting with that core identity.
Exactly. Then, setting clear, measurable intentions and affirming them daily. It also emphasizes making empowered choices, aligned with our goals and intuition,
Trusting your gut.
and being open to embracing change and adapting our plans as needed. Flexibility and adaptability seem crucial, especially when things don't go exactly as planned.
Absolutely. The book uses the analogy of a boat riding the storms, using the force of the wind to move in the desired direction, even if the immediate conditions are challenging.
Right, working with what is.
The challenge also highlights the importance of unwavering focus and persistence, even amidst setbacks, and channeling our energy into feeling good in the present moment.
So it's about maintaining that positive inner state, regardless of external circumstances.
That seems to be the core of it. Gratitude and positivity are also key components.
The book underscores the importance of daily gratitude practices, actively counting our blessings, and even reframing perceived curses into wins.
Finding the good, yeah.
It also reiterates the acting as if technique, suggesting concrete actions like initiating negotiations for desired items, really stepping into that future reality. And the evening routine is also important in this challenge.
Yes. The book recommends an evening gratitude practice reflecting on positive experiences and listing things we're grateful for before bed.
Winding down with positivity.
And it also suggests visualization before sleep, vividly imagining desired outcomes and feeling the associated emotions.
Locking it in before sleep. Now, this challenge isn't just about personal gain, is it? It also includes a focus on giving and serving.
That's right. The book explains the law of reciprocity through actively giving and serving others in need daily, even through small acts of kindness. It emphasizes that what we give out into the world tends to come back to us.
The cycle of giving and receiving.
Exactly. There's also an emphasis on living in flow. What does that entail in this context?
Good question. It's about surrendering to the divine cosmic order, releasing the need for rigid control, and trusting the natural unfolding of life.
Letting go of the reins a bit.
Yeah. It's that feeling when you're in the zone, tasks feel effortless, opportunities seem to align naturally. It's about trusting the process rather than forcing outcomes.
That takes practice. And a powerful element of this challenge is cultivating unconditional love.
Yes. The book highlights the importance of cultivating self-love and acceptance, extending compassion to others, even those who might seem difficult.
Especially those, maybe.
Right. And practicing forgiveness. It's about operating from a place of love in all our interactions. The book even touches on the importance of physical and spiritual nourishment.
How so?
It connects eating, physically emphasizing live foods like fruits and plant seeds, with spiritual nourishment through knowledge and understanding.
Body and mind connection.
The very holistic approach to well-being. And the book positions this entire 90-day challenge as the ultimate test.
The ultimate test. Okay.
Yeah, it frames it as embracing the unknown with courage and faith, leading to personal empowerment and clarity. The book suggests that completing this challenge marks not just an end, but the beginning of a new chapter in our spiritual evolution, unlocking higher consciousness.
So it's a catalyst for growth.
Definitely. And the foundation for all of this, the book reiterates, is knowing your true self.
It always comes back to that, doesn't it?
It really does. The book emphasizes that aligning with our divine nature is what provides clarity about our genuine desires and allows us to manifest a rich life in all aspects, not just material wealth, but also spiritual fulfillment and meaningful connections.
Makes sense. And it ends with a really provocative thought, a final dare.
Yes, the book challenges us to visit the hell in our own lives those areas of darkness, struggle, or suffering and transform them into our personal paradise.
Wow, that's intense.
It is. It emphasizes that these are creations of our own consciousness and that we have the power to transmute them, becoming greatest light bearers by bringing light into those dark corners.
Turning darkness into light, essentially.
Precisely. So as we draw this part of our deep dive to a close, we've really covered a lot of ground, moving from understanding the need for reprogramming to a concrete 90-day plan for testing these principles.
Exactly. We've explored practical steps for taking control of our subconscious programming and actively working towards manifesting our desires through intention, gratitude, visualization, and inspired action. And the book's powerful message, echoing in those final challenges, is really about recognizing our own innate creative power and the profound potential for transformation that lies within each of us. When we cultivate self-awareness, make intentional choices, and take those necessary steps.
So, as you reflect on everything we've discussed today, consider that final dare from the book. Now that you've explored these depths and unlocked these keys, what hell in your life are you ready to transform into your personal paradise? What's that first step you feel called to take? It's a powerful question to sit with. Welcome back, everyone. This is it, the final part of our deep dive, drawing from that really fascinating collection of materials you shared.
That's right. We've been on quite a journey these past conversations.
We really have. We've explored, knowledge, understanding, the power of that inner wisdom.
And those core beliefs that, well, fundamentally shape how we see everything.
Yeah, and we touched on some pretty profound ideas like the divine spark within us, the creative power of our thoughts, our words.
And reprogramming the mind, that inner compass concept, too.
Exactly. So today, we're kind of bringing it all home. We've gone back through everything, the PDF, our previous chat.
Right, the deep dives themselves.
And we've pulled out some of the most, provocative quotes, statements, and questions, things that really made us stop and think.
The idea is really just to spark that curiosity again, maybe even more intensely.
Yeah, foster that sense of wonder,
Yeah.
And leave you feeling like, wow, we've only just scratched the surface here.
Exactly. There's so much more potential for understanding packed into these sources. It feels like a whole universe waiting.
Okay, so let's dive right in. Some of these are just incredible. Right from the preface of the PDF, it hits you with this. It will touch you to the very root of your DNA, and your spirit will hear it loud and clear. The bell it will ring will be felt like an electric shock wave that will touch the core of your existence. Wow.
Wow is right. That's not subtle, is it? An electric shockwave.
Not at all. It suggests this isn't just like intellectual learning. It's transformation.
It implies a truth that resonates deeper. Yeah. On a cellular level, almost. Beyond just agreeing with an idea.
Totally. And then it just asks you point blank, who are you?
Wow.
That's so simple,
But so profound. It cuts through everything, doesn't it? All the external stuff.
it really does. Makes you pause. We talked about self-awareness being key before.
And this is the bedrock question for that. You need that starting point.
Absolutely fundamental. And following that, this declaration, you are the architect of your own limits. Wow.
That puts the power squarely back on us, doesn't it?
It really does. Makes you think about all the limits we just accept, maybe without even realizing.
Exactly. Barriers we've built ourselves based on, what we believe is possible. Ties right back into reprogramming the mind.
Perfect connection. Okay, now this one really flips the script on, conventional success. It says, the one who has everything often discovers they truly have nothing of lasting value. Wow. That contrast between external stuff and real inner fulfillment.
Yeah. Like we discussed, wisdom versus just having information or having things. True value is different.
Lasting value, exactly. Experiences, growth, connection, things money can't always buy.
Right. And this links perfectly to the next point. Unless you know who you are, you will never understand how things actually work.
Wow. Self-knowledge first.
It's the lens eye, isn't it? Without knowing yourself, your interpretation of everything else is kind of skewed.
Like trying to read that map without knowing where you are on it. You said that before.
Exactly. Your internal state shapes your external perception.
Now, here's a really interesting, maybe slightly controversial idea. The PDF mentions straight lines instead of curved lines that are in operation in nature, keeping human potential untapped for control.
Wow. Yeah, that's a fascinating thought. Suggests a deliberate, maybe obscuring of natural ways.
Almost like systems designed to limit us, maybe,
Mm.
by not aligning with nature.
It certainly prompts you to question the structures we take for granted, to look for more organic truths.
It definitely makes you think. But then, amidst that, there's this incredible reassurance about our inner strength. This light is so bright that no shadow can fully envelop it. No falsehood can extinguish its brilliance.
Wow. That's powerful imagery. An unshakable core.
Like that inner flame you mentioned. It can't be put out no matter what.
It speaks to resilience, of that fundamental essence that remains pure.
And then, this just blows the doors off conventional thinking. You are more and you are limitless. You cannot be contained in dimensions of mass, volume, space, and time. Wow.
Yeah, that pushes boundaries. Suggests our true nature is way beyond just the physical body we perceive.
It really does. Invites you to consider reality beyond the usual constraints.
A much bigger picture of who we are.
And I love this analogy it uses. The myth of the elephant, representing humans containing a vast and diverse range of attributes and potentials. Wow.
It's a great visual, isn't it? All these hidden facets within each of us.
So much complexity, so much possibility.
Yeah. Talents and capabilities we might not even know we have.
Okay, now this perspective on adversity is really something. Therefore, hell is your blessing. Otherwise, without it, you can never know paradise, no mud, no lotus. You are destined to build an interstellar civilization out of mud.
Wow. That reframes hardship completely. Not just something bad, but
For
necessary.
contrast, right?
Yeah.
You need the dark to appreciate the light, the mud for the
Right.
lotus.
Exactly. It suggests even the toughest stuff is fertile ground for something amazing, something beautiful. Building from the mud.
Love that. Okay, shifting to creation itself. All that was visible emerged from the unseen as his thoughts reverberated in the form of 6 sacred songs.
Wow. Creation. Through thought, through sound, vibration. It resonates with so many ancient ideas.
It really does. The power of intention bringing things into being.
Connects back to the creative power of our own thoughts and words, too.
And here's another mind bender. Strange. So before light became itself, it was darkness. Darkness is peace, and light can bring chaos.
Wow. That turns everything on its head, doesn't it? Usually we think darkness is bad, light is good.
Right. But this suggests peace resides in that unseen potential, the darkness. And manifestation, the light, can bring complexity, maybe disruption.
It challenges those automatic associations. Very thought-provoking.
But then, this incredible dose of optimism. True failure is elusive because you are inherently bound for success.
Wow. That's incredibly encouraging. Setbacks aren't the end of the story.
It reinforces that idea of innate potential resilience. Failure is just a detour.
We're ultimately meant to thrive, it suggests.
And this gets right to our core power. Your curse and your blessing is the same thing. You are creation that can create.
Wow. That duality again, we're the created, but also the creators. Immense power.
An immense responsibility that comes with it. How we use that creative ability.
Exactly. It's both a gift and, yeah, a heavy responsibility. Guides back to that inner compass idea.
Definitely. Okay, what about paradise and hell? The text says, paradise and hell are feeling state conditions existing as mere construct. Wow.
So not physical places necessarily, but internal states.
Created by our own feelings, our perceptions, it's all internal landscape.
Which puts the power, again, right back inside us to define our reality, regardless of what's happening outside. Ties into seeking peace and love as desirable states.
It does. Now this concept, zero is the origin portal, the gateway, the unseen foundation of all creation.
Wow. The power of nothingness, the void holding infinite potential.
Mysterious, but profound. Zero is the source.
It's a concept you find in various spiritual paths, that empty space where everything begins.
Oh, it is. Okay, delving into ancient symbols. The tree of knowledge stands as a symbol of both temptation and enlightenment. What about the second forbidden tree of life that was hidden? It's something you can easily manifest using the generative law of creation given in this book.
Wow. So the idea isn't just knowledge for knowledge's sake, but for transformation.
And unlocking something hidden, a key to like a more vibrant life through these laws.
That's the implication. Applying these principles to potentially transcend limits. Very compelling.
It is. Now this one about giving is really paradoxical. The more they take, the greater will be their lack. For you, you must live by giving your light like stars, and your source will never be depleted. You are that light.
Wow. Abundance through generosity, not hoarding.
Like a star, just shining. Suggests our inner resources are endless when shared.
Recognizing that inherent light within and letting it flow outwards, it's a beautiful concept.
It really is. And this next one elevates our role. You are both a vessel and a source of divine love, a bridge between the finite and the infinite, a co-creator and prime creator in the ongoing dance of creation.
Wow. That emphasizes our connection, our active participation in, well, everything.
Not just passive observers, but co-creators in the universe unfolding.
That intimate connection with the divine and our role in shaping reality. Powerful stuff.
Going back to Eden again, the only way to taste of its goodness was but to eat the fruit of knowledge that would allow them to differentiate between good and evil. Wow.
So gaining knowledge wasn't the fall, but maybe a necessary step.
To actually experience the fullness, the goodness, requires discernment.
That's a very different take. Awareness and understanding gained through knowledge become essential.
And this is just so empowering. Your user manual has never truly left you. It merely awaits your conscious exploration and reconnection.
Wow. All the answers are already in sight. We just need to look.
Reconnect through introspection, like we talked about with the inner compass.
Exactly. Self-reflection and inner knowing hold the keys.
Okay, a shift now. A more sobering idea about control. They control you by perpetuating tactics that drive your consciousness into a lower vibration frequency where you can easily be controlled.
Wow. That highlights the importance of awareness, doesn't it? Staying vigilant.
Maintaining a higher state, yeah. Protecting ourselves from manipulation, which connects back to the power of our emotional state.
Cultivating that higher consciousness is key to personal power, avoiding those lower energies.
But then, this amazing turnaround. Every dark force is under your feet to power your light and blessings.
Wow. So even negativity can be fuel, transmuted.
Like alchemy, yeah. Turning challenges into power for positive outcomes, using it all.
That's an incredibly empowering perspective on adversity.
And this one really challenges everything we think we know. Every piece of information, every facet, every knowledge that we now hold as humans of who we are has been completely manipulated into half-truth, into a changed recipe.
Wow. That demands critical thinking, doesn't it? Question everything.
Seriously. Makes you wonder about the foundations of our knowledge, about who we are, about history.
Urges us to seek deeper truths beyond just the surface narratives we're usually given.
The book then offers these reinterpretations of figures like Yeshua and Solomon, suggesting they wielded power in ways we don't typically understand. Wow.
Yeah, it pushes us to look beyond the standard stories, consider alternative views of these influential figures.
Deeper, less conventional understandings, maybe.
Exactly. Rethinking established narratives.
And this one really stretches the imagination, reinterpreting ancient spiritual texts as potentially just describing encounters with advanced civilizations or technologies. Wow.
It opens up that possibility, doesn't it? Viewing the past through a different lens.
A technological lens, maybe. Bridging spirituality and science.
Could be. It's a fascinating potential perspective shift on ancient stories.
But ultimately, it seems to always come back to us. As a royal seed, the knowledge of who you are and your direct connection with the Father is what liberates you. Wow. Self-knowledge again. The key to freedom, empowerment, understanding our true nature, our connection to Source. That's the path to liberation.
Exactly. It's the recurring core message.
And this is just pure empowerment. You're a creator, and if you cannot figure out who you are, the least you can do is simply create who you want to be, and you will be that.
Wow. Even if you don't have all the answers about yourself, you still have the power to shape your future self.
Consciously design your identity, your reality. Incredible agency.
It highlights that innate creative power we all possess.
Okay, shifting to emotions. The desirable emotion is peace, repose, and love. The emotion is the instruction. The emotion is an electromagnetic pulse from the heart.
Wow. So feelings aren't just feelings, they're guidance, they're energy.
Like direct communication from our core. Very powerful.
Aligns perfectly with focusing on positive emotional states for manifestation.
And this is incredibly freeing advice. Never let the how burden your mind. Instead, place your unwavering trust in God. Will marshal the cosmic forces to conspire in your favor.
Wow.
Let go of controlling the details, right? Focus on the what and trust the process. Trust that a higher intelligence, the universe, God, whatever term resonates, will handle the logistics.
Exactly. Release the burden of figuring out every single step.
And this emphasizes imagination. Close your eyes and let your imagination take you to a place where your desires have already come to fruition.
Wow. Visualization as a tool. feeling it as real now.
Bringing it into your present experience energetically, using your senses in your mind.
Yeah, engaging those senses and emotions as if it's already happened, a key manifestation technique.
And this is a strong warning about ignoring our inner truth. You shun away from your deepest desires. You shun away from your true self. Then prepare to be agitated and for winding trods in hell.
Wow. That suggests aligning with our authentic desires is crucial for peace.
Suppressing them leads to inner conflict, dissatisfaction. Embracing them is aligning with your true self.
Makes sense. Denying your core self would naturally cause friction.
And this brings it back inside again. Your destination is always within you. It is always your sovereign intent that serves you best. Wow.
Your inner guidance, your own intentions are the most reliable compass.
The answers aren't out there. They're in here. Trust your sovereign intent.
Yes. Underscores that inner wisdom.
This one captures a beautiful paradox. A moving being that is moving to gain peacefulness. This is strange and amazing. Wow.
The constant striving and seeking, but the ultimate goal is stillness, peace.
We're dynamic, always changing, expanding, yet seeking rest. It is strange and amazing.
Perfectly captures that tension in human existence.
And this elevates love. Love is not merely an emotion. It is the ultimate reality, the essence of your being. Any other emotions or imbalances are fleeting illusions.
Wow. Love is the foundation, the core truth. Everything else is temporary.
Not just a feeling, but the fundamental reality. That's a profound statement.
Positions love as the absolute essence.
And again, the surprisingly simple answer. You just need to know who you are.
Wow. Back to the core, self-discovery holds the key.
It seems to be the thread running through absolutely everything.
It really does. Understanding our true nature unlocks everything else.
Thinking about emotions again. Each serves a purpose, but left unchecked, they can trap you in a loop. Once you recognize them for what they are and master their energy, they become the keys to unlocking your divine self.
Wow. Emotional intelligence, basically. Understanding and managing them.
Turning them from potential traps into tools for growth, keys to unlocking potential.
Exactly. Recognizing their purpose and harnessing their energy constructively.
Okay, this next one gets into some deeper symbolism. Mentions of 13 families, the number of the beast, and transcending time to reclaim our limitless essence as misrepresented gods.
Wow. Yeah, that's delving into more esoteric territory. Hidden history, maybe? Breaking free from limitations?
Suggests societal structures might obscure our true nature, and we can transcend that.
It definitely hints at deeper layers and the potential to reclaim a misrepresented divinity.
And here's a practical path. The stages of competence, moving from unconscious incompetence to mastery through repetition. Wow.
A clear roadmap for learning anything, really. Growth through dedicated practice.
Consistent effort leads to mastery. Simple but powerful reminder.
Actionable advice for skill development.
And the power of thought again. Your mind does not discriminate between the seeds you sow. It acts as a faithful multiplier. Wow.
Choose your thoughts wisely. What you plant is what grows, amplified.
Underscores the critical need for mindful, positive thinking. The mind just does its job.
Highlights the direct impact on our reality.
This next one is huge in terms of our power. You are both the generator and the genesis. Both the spiritual and physical realms lend their ears to your authorizations. The universe mirrors back precisely what you commanded to deliver.
Wow. Ultimate authority. We're the source, and reality responds to our commands.
Whether we command consciously or unconsciously, the universe mirrors it back. That's incredible responsibility.
Makes us truly active creators of our entire experience.
And this shifts focus inward for action. Let your action be spiritual. Do more action on the thought above than you exert below. For the physical is a manifestation of work and action done in the spirit.
Wow. Inner work first. Alignment in thought and spirit is the foundation for effective physical action.
The real work happens on the inside, and the outside reflects that.
Exactly. Prioritizing that mental and spiritual alignment.
This speaks to ease versus effort. Success, happiness, and joy is closer for those who flow and will remain hidden and may never be found for those who struggle. All nature comes from spirit, gracefully and blissfully. Wow.
Embrace the flow, right. Align with natural rhythms. Trust the process rather than constant struggle.
Suggests ease and grace are the more natural, effective paths.
Encourages approaching goals with trust and allowing, like nature itself.
This highlights early programming, the impact of ages 3, 6, and 9, but also the possibility of reprogramming.
Wow. Understanding our foundations, those early imprints, is crucial.
But we're not stuck with them. We can consciously reshape those patterns.
Exactly. Acknowledges the impact, but empowers us to change it.
And this encourages making dreams tangible, engaging with the physical aspects of desires.
Grounding aspirations, making them feel more real through physical interaction.
Taking tangible steps, engaging the senses, makes it feel closer, more achievable.
Yes, reinforces the reality of the goal.
This distinguishes faith and belief. Faith pushes and grabs the kingdom by violence, while belief allows it to flow into you.
Wow. Two different modes, aren't they? Forceful striving versus receptive allowing.
Just maybe the allowing of belief is sometimes more effective, more effortless.
It presents that contrast, yeah. Trusting and receptive belief might invite flow more easily.
And this analogy for failure is beautiful. Like milk turning to cheese or grape juice to wine. Wow.
Transformation, seeing setbacks not as ends, but as part of a process, creating something valuable.
Finding the value in the process, even when it looks like failure initially.
Exactly. Reframing challenges as necessary steps.
This mentions trigger words, igniting our connection to the Father, to Source. Wow.
Specific words acting like keys, unlocking higher awareness.
Suggests language itself can resonate deeply and activate our inner connection.
The power of specific affirmations or sacred words.
And I am is called the master key to manifestation.
Wow. The power of self-declaration again. How we define ourselves is fundamental.
Profound impact of stating I am, followed by our desired reality.
Emphasizes the creative power inherent in our being, our self-identification.
This reframes obstacles. View them as opportunities for growth. Wow.
A resilient mindset. Challenges aren't roadblocks, they're stepping stones.
Fosters that empowered perspective, embracing difficulty as a chance to learn and strengthen.
Yes, turning obstacles into advantages.
And the power of gratitude, enhancing energetic frequency, attracting abundance. Wow.
Simple but transformative. Thankfulness shifts your energy.
Aligns you with receiving more positive experiences. The power of appreciation.
Underscores gratitude as a key practice for attracting abundance.
This encourages patience, trusting divine timing for desires to unfold. Wow.
Surrender, right. Letting go of the need for immediate result.
Trusting the universe's perfect orchestration even if we don't see it yet.
Releasing control and trusting the larger plan.
And back again to the cornerstone. Knowing who you truly are is the cornerstone of all creation. Wow.
It just keeps coming back to this. It's absolutely central.
The foundation for everything else we build or create in life.
Reaffirms self-knowledge as the fundamental basis.
This gives a practical tool, the RAS system, and consciously overriding old programming.
Wow. Understanding how our brain filters info and taking charge of it.
Provides a tangible way to rewire limiting beliefs. Take control of the subconscious.
Yes, practical neuroscience applied to personal growth.
And the power of focus. Incubating chosen seeds, attracting more of what you focus on. Wow.
Directing your mental energy is crucial. What you focus on expands.
The law of attraction in action. Attention amplifies.
Highlights the need to consciously choose where we place our focus.
This offers a comforting thought on difficult times. Seemingly negative events might be working towards a request.
Wow. Trusting the process, even when it looks messy or counterintuitive.
Looking beyond appearances, trusting a larger unseen order is at play.
Encourages faith that things might be serving a higher purpose.
This suggests creating a desired lifestyle book. Wow. Tangible vision creation.
Making your ideal future clear, detailed, physical.
Emphasizes the power of clarity and intentionality in manifesting.
A powerful tool for bringing that vision into focus.
This is about alignment, setting intentions to harmonize thoughts, emotions, actions with desires. Wow.
Living with purpose, inner and outer worlds working together.
Creating that coherent signal to the universe by aligning all parts of yourself.
Emphasizes the necessity of that congruence for powerful creation.
And visualization again, bringing the vision to life with images, words, symbols.
Wow, engaging the senses, making it vivid, immersing yourself in the feeling.
Reinforces the creative power of our inner world, our imagination.
A key technique for experiencing the desired reality now.
Then there's a practical test mentioned, a 90-day challenge to flow with the divine cosmic order.
Wow. An invitation to actually try these principles out, experiment actively.
Put it to the test in your own life and see what happens.
Encourages direct experience over just intellectual understanding.
And embracing flow and synchronicity. Paying attention to signs, opportunities. Wow.
Being present, receptive to guidance, the universe communicating.
openness to those subtle cues and unexpected doors opening.
Highlights the value of observation and responsiveness to life's flow.
This speaks to our essence.
Yeah.
Unconditional love, activating our true nature as light beings, letting chaotic light break loose.
Wow. Love as the key again, unleashing our true, powerful, radiant self.
The transformative power of unconditional love, breaking limitations.
Emphasizes love as the activator of our highest potential.
This calls us to claim our power, embracing inner sovereignty, stepping up as conscious creators.
Wow. Owning it. Recognizing and using our inherent authority to shape our lives. An invitation to stop being passive and fully embrace our creative role.
And aligning with divine will, setting clear intentions, taking inspired action in harmony with a higher purpose. Wow.
Co-creation. Working with the universe, not just imposing our will.
Aligning personal desires with something bigger, letting action flow from inspiration.
Underscores the power of that harmonious partnership.
This marks the culmination, the final test of manifesting deepest desires into tangible form. Wow.
The ultimate expression of conscious creation, bringing the inner vision fully into outer reality.
The peak of the journey, perhaps, making it real.
Signifies the successful application of all these principles.
And finally, expanding awareness. The third eye, embracing oneness, clearing illusions of separation. Wow.
Moving to that grander perspective, seeing the interconnectedness of everything.
Transcending individual limits, recognizing the unity of consciousness. Profound.
Points to a higher state of understanding beyond ordinary perception.
Wow. Just,
Yeah.
wow. I mean, you can probably tell, right? We're just blown away by the depth here.
Absolutely. The sheer volume of provocative, unconventional wisdom is staggering.
And honestly, what we've just raced through, it really is just a glimpse, isn't it? A taste.
Oh, completely. Just scratching the surface. These quotes are powerful, but they're embedded in so much more context and explanation.
Yeah. So if any of this sparked something in you, if you felt even a tiny bit of that electric shock wave.
Then you really owe it to yourself to explore further.
Definitely. The full treasure, the deeper understanding, the practical steps, it's all in the pages of this, well, truly remarkable book.
We are genuinely amazed by it. It feels different, profound, sometimes strange in the best way.
It really does. A journey of self-discovery unlike most things you encounter. So look, our strongest advice is simple.
Get the book.
Get your own copy. Don't just rely on our highlights. Dive in yourself. Explore these strange, amazing truths.
Unlock your own potential. Start consciously creating the life you want.
Treasures, keys to understanding